Hello, ID60. So you have watched the lecture, you have completed the quiz, and now you're ready for your assignment. So, this is assignment 11, Occupied Real Estate Staging Photo Critique. So the objective is to identify poor staging choices that reduce buyer appeal, to apply design and marketing principles to improve real estate presentation, to develop a critical eye for composition, lighting, and emotional storytelling in listing photos, to practice explaining professional recommendation and using design vocabulary. So, what you're going to do in this assignment, you will analyze and critique occupied real estate listing photos that are not staged effectively. You'll evaluate what makes the photos unsuccessful and propose specific professional staging improvements that would make the home photograph and show better. So remember I told you I was still using beautiful photographs in my lecture because I didn't want to ruin my aesthetic. So this time I'm gonna show you photos that I know very clearly are occupied staging. However, they were not either staged at all. Maybe the homeowner did them and they didn't hire an expert, or they weren't staged their best. But the photographs I'm going to show you did come from real estate websites. So, part one, what you're going to do is search for photos. So, you'll visit real estate sites such as Zillow, Redfin, or Realtor.com. Doesn't have to be those are just suggestions. Find one active or recently sold listing. So, don't dig in the archives too far. It should be active, so it should be something that's on the market now, and select 5 photos from that poor staging. So you're only selecting one home. Okay. So from that one home or that one listing, you are selecting 5 photos. And the listing should obviously be occupied staging. So let me switch over. So these are my examples. Let me make it bigger for you. So Um, this one's actually not so bad now that I go back and look at it, but definitely not adhering to maybe a lot of the principles that we have learned, right? It is neat and tidy, but maybe there's too many things on the shelves. Maybe it's a little too personal. Like, I'm not sure I really want that text on my ceiling. I'm not sure that I need all of those things at the desk. So, for sure, this one is staged. I know a professional went in there and probably did some work. Um, but in my opinion, I could still give it some critique, right? So you could choose something like this. I think it's pretty obvious that this space is occupied and that they use the homeowner's furniture. And then there's this one. So again, it's bad. It's clean, it's tidy. But when I'm looking at the art placement, when I'm looking at the furniture style, when I'm looking at the bookshelves, when I'm looking at some of the things in the shelves, the art on the walls or photographs on the walls could be improved, right? So again, to me, this feels like it's occupied. We really won't know for sure, but I don't want you to select a beautiful space, right? And then say there's nothing wrong with it. But these, I literally pulled these off of a realtor website a few days ago. So here's another one. And then I think this is the one where I was like, my goodness. And I guess, they're all clean and tidy, which is good. So somebody has definitely gone in and cleaned. But when I look at this one, a lot of sort of over personalized items, right? A lot of collections that shouldn't be there. A lot of stuff, like we have 2 microwaves on the counter. We have red window treatments. We have big teddy bears. We have pillows that aren't necessarily poofed properly. Um, so Yeah. So again, and this is from a website. This property is for sale. So I'm not making these up, but you're going through and you're gonna find one space and you only need 5 photographs. I have 8 just because I couldn't decide which ones to show you. So I showed you all of them. And here's one more. Okay. So this could kind of be a cool space. Like if I was the stager for this space, I could see doing some like really cool things with the space and the furniture that's there. I think really it's about editing and maybe taking away and adding some pieces. But in general, like I kind of like this space. I don't think that it's properly staged or was properly photographed for sale, okay, to appeal to a particular market. So these are the types of photographs you're looking for, and they should be active listings. So let's hop out of there and back into our assignment. So you're searching for photos. You're finding one home, only one. I just gave you a couple different examples so that you could see that they are plentiful. And several of those homes were in Beverly Hills. Like when you go into the realtor sites, you can put in the zip code. So I put in Beverly Hills just to kind of see. And so at least 2 of those homes were in the Beverly Hills area. So you could put in any zip code you choose. And then you're going to find one listing, select 5 photos. The listing should be obviously occupied stage. So to me, that's obviously the owner is still in the house or they're using the owner's furniture. Okay. So part 2, the listing information. So what I want you to include is the name, excuse me, of the area that the property is listed in. So like I said, 2 of those were from Beverly Hills. So I would put Beverly Hills on my page and then a short neighborhood description. So again, if you want to use ChatGPT for this short neighborhood description, I am okay with that. Or Google copy paste, I'm okay with that. So you don't have to make it up. So short neighborhood description and a short buyer profile, same deal. For those 2 categories, if you want to use a ChatGPT or a Google search, I'm okay with it. You don't have to make them up or put a whole lot of thought process behind that because it sort of is what it is, right? So you give me the name of the area, a short neighborhood description, and a short buyer profile. So then part 3. So this is not ChatGPT. This is all you. I want to know your thoughts. So for each image, include a problem description. So you're going to identify what is wrong with the staging. Okay. And then you're going to give me buyer impact. You're going to explain how this issue might affect the buyer's perception or reduce emotional connection from the person that is coming in to see the space for purchase. Okay. So the buyer, you're looking at it from the buyer's point of view. Then the staging solution. So how would you fix the problem? So note, you can change wall colors. So like we saw that paint at the text at the ceiling. So I am allowed to paint it, but that's all you can do. So you can't just say throw it all away, right? So you can change the colors on the walls, doors, windows, and ceiling. Any other recommendations must pertain to items in the photograph. So you cannot just throw it all away. So you're making sure you're using design language. So you're going to use professional staging and marketing terminology from lectures. So for example, focal point, traffic flow, scale, negative space, aspirational lifestyle, etc. Okay. You can use color harmonies, like if you are trying to do neutrals or whatever. So any of the lectures that we've had before, I want you to start to pull in that vocabulary in order to make strong points as to how, as a professional stager, you would update this space. So writing complete sentences with polished and professional tone. Okay, so basically, I'm just going to sum it up before we get into the presentation. You're finding one home. You're going to get 5 photos from that home. You're going to tell me where the home is. I don't actually want to know who the realtor is. I don't want to know anything like that. I just want to know the neighborhood where it is. I want a short neighborhood description, and again, you could just Google that. That's fine. And a short buyer profile. Again, could Google it, Chat GPT it. I'm good with that. Part 3 is all you. So I want you to use your brain, and I want you to tell me what's wrong with the space based on what you've learned. I want you to explain why the buyer may perceive it as not the best purchase, and how that whatever is happening in the space is reducing the emotional connection. And then you're going to tell me how you would solve the problem. So if you want to, you could draw on the image the way that we've done in other assignments. So you could circle things, you could just type. The easier it is for me to understand what you're saying, the better. So drawing on it would be great. And you're going to make sure that when you're telling me how you're going to fix the problem, you're using design language. And so, again, that's from all the other lectures we've had since the beginning of class. So your presentation format, you're going to create your presentation using PowerPoint, Google Slides, or Canva. It's up to you. You know, I'm kind of a PowerPoint girly, but if you like other formats, as long as it comes to me in as a PDF, that's fine. On the first slide, it's going to have your property area, your neighborhood description, and your client persona. Okay, so that's your title slide. On slides 2 through 6, you're going to have that one image. So you'll have one image on each slide, and it will include the problem. So again, what's wrong happening in the space, the buyer impact, and the staging solution. So one image, and then you're answering all 3 of the questions. The third slide is another image answering all the questions until you get to the end of the slides. So you should end up with a total of 6 slides. And then I said you may use drawing or annotation to highlight issues or suggested changes, and you can draw directly on the image. So you are putting that into a PDF and uploading onto Canvas. You do not need to upload anything onto Concept Board this time, and there is no discussion. So yay. Here is the grading rubric. It's worth 25 points, and you can scroll and see how you will be graded. So like always, if you have any questions, make sure to inbox me and let me know. Have fun.